And then when I moved over to the much of the smaller sizes, it was just like, whoa, I could fit, these pants, and I got some size 10 stretchy pants. I could never fit that before. and and I put them on, and I was just like, whoa, I can fit these pants. And so I noticed that the clothes started looking better on me, that I was able to move a little bit forward to the clothing area, and I wasn't no longer that 3X and that 2X. I was able to go more into like maybe for shirts, extra large. Bottoms are like, depending on how it's made, a 12, right. And I could do the stretchy 10s, and so that was just like, wow, no more 18s and 24s, and it's just like that was a really nice to finally see that I'm no longer there. It's like, and so I need to still maintain. I exercise. I do kickboxing. I go to the Planet Fitness, and I ride the bikes there. So
it has become your lifestyle.
That's my lifestyle.
It has become your lifestyle. Not only you've learned how to eat, now you know how to exercise. Now you know how to. Hi again, this is Antoinette, and we are back here. I do have Rhonda, our guest today. She's going to present herself, and then we can get started and just kind of sharing her journey, how things were before, and how it is, and how she's just kind of living a better, healthier life today. So I'll just leave it to that and let her present herself, and then we can get started.
Okay. Hi, I'm Rhonda. I had started with HydroSpark about last year or so. Yeah, about last year. I noticed that I had trouble losing weight. I tried various programs, and the inflammation was not great on me, and learning how to eat better. So I had joined up HydroSpark, and with the diet plan and getting the nutrition that I needed, and I was able to shed the pounds and have a better lifestyle.
Okay, great. Thank you for your introduction. So, you just mentioned that it's something inflammation that was. How long had you been dealing with inflammation?
Very long time. It was off and on, and the weight just kept piling on, and it was really a long time. I just kept dealing with it.
Okay.
And then when I came here, it finally just subsided, and I was able to not have those effects and the pain that I was feeling with it.
And where were your pains? Was it just more shoulders?
Shoulders or legs, because I have arthritis, and I don't have those pains anymore because I have arthritis in my leg. Now I don't have those pains as much anymore. So that really helped, because the inflammation was mainly also in my legs, and that really subsided.
Okay. Okay. And so, like, how was if you can just tell us the journey in terms of adapting to the habits that you had before, and the habits that you had to implement. How was that? How was that of a change for you?
Yeah, that was a really big challenge. I'm not gonna say it was easy, but it was a challenge when you have to drink water. Doing a switch to that, and to this day, I drink water all day. That hasn't changed, but in the beginning, it was a bit of a struggle to drink how many gallons of water all day. I wasn't used to that. I would have like ginger ale or lemonade, flavored water. Flavor was a carbonated water. I would have that all the time. Now I'm thinking like, well, that's water, but it really wasn't. But adapting to that change was the difficult part. But now I'm so used to just having water.
So when you started drinking the water, how was that? Like, just kind of drinking water
on regular
basis?
Yeah, on a regular basis. That was just like the challenge right there. But I powered through it.
Yeah. And internally, did you feel any particular changes? Like, just the fact that you switch of not drinking water, now you're drinking. Is there anything like physically, emotionally that you experienced that was different?
Yeah, I think physically my body started changing in a way of adapting to a new way of eating. versus the old way of eating and how you feel all sluggish and, after you eat burgers or pizza, or whatever, and how you feel after that. But after changing to water and a better lifestyle, you start feeling a difference in your body and how lighter your body feels. And even that'd be discussed in your bathroom habits of, when you go to the bathroom, you start noticing a bit of a difference there.
Then are you referring to the color, for instance, of your pee?
Yes,
Let's just say it as it is.
Yes.
So the color of the urine, of course, is different. The
It's
smell is different.
Yes.
Those actually, I'm glad that you're pointing that out, because those are small little things
Yeah.
that actually help us and indicates to us on how hydrated or dehydrated we are.
Yes.
Just by looking at the color of the urination.
Exactly.
And
how it goes from dark, because you can see how you're eating, to like, oh, this is clean. That's a big difference.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm glad you made that out. You know what I mean? Because it's small little things, but they're important. Like when you just come to that realization, it's like, oh, my urine is not as dark.
Exactly.
It's much cleaner.
Yeah.
The food I'm eating.
Exactly.
Now.
And it's a big difference when you go to your physician. If you're having go to your physical, and like, I recently just went to my doctor, and just to seeing the test results from my past was very high levels. And now I got the test results again recently, and my levels are all normal.
Beautiful. Yeah, actually, that's the word you're talking about, getting the tests done and making sure that in terms of your health, in terms of wellness, you need to look at the biomarkers.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
see what levels they are at, and making sure that they're getting better, they're getting healthier.
Yeah,
because that's a good indication. So what are the changes did you observe, like before you started, when you're doing it, and what it is today?
The A1C in my past was like very high. It was like close to like 6.7 was like my highest, and almost getting to like the sevens. Had my A1C checked again. It was recently 5.14. The blood, which I don't know all the terminology, but looking at the blood levels was very different. I used to be on blood pressure pills. Not on that. I was on metformin.
Good job.
Not on that.
That's a huge shift.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And did you communicate closely with your doctor and just mention to them what you were doing?
Yeah, I did mention to my doctor what I was doing and what changes I was going. I let my doctor know that, hey, I joined a HydroSpark, and I let her know all the changes that I was doing. And she said, well, that seems like a good idea for you to do and to keep up with it. And, let her know what my exercises are now too. And so she noticed that the change, and with my, let's say with all my test results, they were really good.
They're really good. That's good. That's really good to hear.
Yeah.
And that's the satisfaction that we get into that essence of, like, like health is not necessary about how big a person looks or how small they look. It's really mostly about what are your biomarkers saying, how healthy are you? Because you can be very tiny, but then if you look at your A1C, it's very high.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And you can be, a little bit, in terms of size on our society, how we determine it.
Right.
But then your biomarkers are healthy. So it's just that element of understanding until you look at what's going on inside the blood.
Exactly.
Your biomarkers, you cannot know how truly healthy you are.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
And I'm glad that you were able to experience that change,
Yeah.
And feeling better and all those things.
Yeah. And that's very important to go see your doctor, and you can see all those test results from your past and then to your present, and see how you are developing health wise. And you can see like, oh wow, my A1C was this, and now wow, it's this. And you can see, the changes in what's going on inside your body.
Right.
And that is important.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, that's a very good point. And in terms of changing, how does it change? Like, there's some type of, the food, of course, mainly focus on food, right?
Yeah.
because some people mention that food is expensive, they can't afford it and everything. How was that? How was your experience on that arena? Like, how did you feel that the food you eat that helped you get to a healthier you was expensive?
The thing is that because we're able to weigh our food and everything, that you can at least do portion control, and you could put everything in like in your boxes or whatever that you buy, and you could do your meal plan that way. And so, of course, everything's high right now. Everything is high, but then you got to learn how to do portion control and put everything into maybe boxes and what you're going, what your meal plan is. So you do feel that at the grocery store, but then also you got to learn like, oh, okay, well, I could do this and do, and put stuff in the fridge and kind of maintain it that way.
So the meal prep too is very helpful.
Meal prep is too, and how you want to plan your meals through the week and what you want to buy and try to go within your budget, of how you want to do things.
And that was very helpful.
That's very helpful. Yeah.
Did you find that the bill that you paid before you started the program and after you started the program, was it the same?
My bill was higher before the program.
Oh, okay.
Because I was buying junk.
Oh, right. That's the thing. Buying the unnecessary things.
I was buying the unnecessary stuff. So my bill was way higher. And then when I started the program, I noticed that it was way lower because I wasn't buying all the carbonated water and, the stuff that I thought was good for me. But then when I was able to buy, I go to Walmart and buy a bag of vegetables, and then I could, have my meal that week. And then with my meat, you could, I have my 4 or 6 ounces. And then, I could then I'll have that, for the week. But I noticed that my bill was way higher than it was. And then when I came to the program, it was actually lower.
Very good. I really like that perspective because it's that also essence of like, it's not necessary that you're eating healthy, that your bill's gonna go high. It's because now when you cut off what's not needed and those extra things that don't serve us, of course, obviously you're going to save money along the way. And that's such a good point to elaborate and be just like, you know what? Eating does not have to be, labeled as expensive. Of course, if vegetables not something as maybe getting a pizza or 5 pizza and another thing, but it's just that regular. But then if you also pre-plan your meals, is very helpful because then you're not going to have that confusion part of like, okay, well, what am I eating tonight? Now that I cannot just go grab a pizza, or can I just go grab this and eat? Right. So tell me a little bit about, because that was the food, that was the is there anything remarkable that you felt as a change in terms of your social life when you were
well, you know what, if I do go out to eat, I know how to like if I want to go out, like, oh yeah, I want this today, but then I know how to go back and still maintain what I want to do. So like if I want to go out and be like, oh yeah, pizza today will be good, but then tomorrow I'm back on my journey. So
exactly.
So you gotta keep that, so you can still have, I still want a burger, or I still would like a slice of pizza. But then that's not going to be every time I go out. I want, I could pick a better alternative. But the next day go back to your regular routine.
Yes. And those are cool fun times, right? Just those treats time. Those where you're just like, okay, well, today I'm just going to have some good ice cream. Right? And I'm going to enjoy it, right? And just enjoy to the fullest. I think really eating also helps us to be mindful of the things that we do on a regular basis. So just kind of I'm just going to get this ice cream and just enjoy it. Every bit of it. I just enjoy it to the core.
Exactly.
And then when I'm done, that's it, right?
Summertime, you got to go out and have ice cream. That's just like a must. You got to go out and have some ice cream in the summer.
Yes, in the summer, you got to have that.
You don't have to have it every day,
Yeah, and that's when it becomes a problem.
Yeah, that's when it becomes a problem, when it's just like, okay, I'm having this all the time. You go out, and then the next day, then just be back on your journey.
And so how did you respond to like friends and family who look at you? They'll be like, oh, what are you doing?
They didn't think I was eating. They thought I was starving myself. But they saw my weight constantly coming down, and they was like, "What are you doing?" I kept telling them where I was going. Like, I'm going here, and this is what's helping me. And then just like, well, you're not eating, and they will sit there. I'm like, that's food.
It's like now the definition of food has changed for people because of just how they view it, of just how they say. Why would you say vegetables not food? A big plate of pizza, it's more food than a vegetable and a steak. Like, how is that? You see how we need to just kind of redefine what is food.
Exactly.
Right? And that's something that I just wanted to get some time to kind of explain the definition of food. What is food? How does food help us? If food is something that's either going to help you burn fat or burn energy, or something that's going to help you grow in the essence. Anything other than that, that is not considered as food. Right. And unfortunately, sometimes we overeat.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? When somebody like doesn't see a plate full of pizza, or not even, I don't even know why we're attacking pizza today, but like, let's just go have a pizza. But it's just like sometimes people, when they don't see a plate full of like a lot of food or meat or French fries, or they don't consider that as food. We just need to switch and be like a plate full of green beans, for instance, a plate full of like, meat that is not deep fried. And you can even have some carbohydrate that on the side. That is what we call food, the thing that your body is going to see and recognize and just be able to work with. That is what we call food. And I'm glad that you mentioned that they'll be like, okay, well, you're starving yourself. No, it's not starving yourself. I'm giving my body what's it's needed for it to work at the optimal level. So that it's
in the morning, I'll have like my hard-boiled eggs, and then I'll have I drink my water throughout the day. Then I'll have a salad, or with some protein. And for dinner, I'll have like a protein and a vegetable. At the same time, I'm eating drinking water all day. And once in a while, because we had a smoothie talk.
Yes, we're gonna talk about the smoothie one. Yes.
So I did cut down on my smoothies. So when I do have like Wednesdays, I'll make a smoothie, and so which is like with fruits, and I do an avocado smoothie and stuff. So I'll have stuff like that. And that, to me, that's food.
Did you feel you were starving when you were on the system? Yeah.
I was getting full.
And that's the word other people just, they have difficult understanding. It's like, I am not hungry because I'm drinking sufficient amount of water, and I'm eating exactly what my body knows how to work with, and sufficient enough to keep me full during the day without starving.
Exactly.
But then at the same time, your body's getting cleansed. It's getting what it needs.
And water makes you full.
Exactly. Water. That's why we give you.
Water makes you
that
full.
amount of water. Okay, so talking about smoothie, that's something you mentioned. All right, so tell us about your story and just kind of share about how your smoothie was.
Which
and
I
how
thought
that
smoothie was good for almost every day. So because I do enjoy smoothies until and so I was like, no.
I was just direct. I'm like, Rhonda, no, you're not going to be doing smoothie.
And I was just like, it's healthy. It's got fruit, everything, but then all that fruit does have sugar in it.
Exactly.
And I thought like, oh, well, I thought this was great. So what I did, I cut down, of course. That was also a challenge because I love smoothies. So I do like maybe, which I cut it down to either I don't have any that month, so I'll go back to maybe, okay, on Wednesdays, I'll have a smoothie. That'll be my smoothie day. And if I want to do like, and that'll be like for make for breakfast, and that'll kind of last me practically all day, just sipping on that. So I really cut down on that tremendously.
Okay. Yeah. And I remember how when we were having a conversation and I was like, we're not doing smoothies.
Yeah,
and the reason why we actually don't do smoothies that much is because smoothie themselves, in smoothie you do have a huge amount of, not a huge amount, it's yes fruits, and you get fiber from smoothie, which fibers are great for us. We need fiber, we need sufficient amount of fiber. But then when we do a smoothie, not only we have the soluble and non-soluble fibers. So the non-soluble fibers, when you blend it, you cut them in half, right? Like you're cutting them. They're not as useful as they used to be. So what it is with fiber is usually supposed to help us protect us. And then, but when we blend it, now the sugars, the fructose and the glucose that is there, they're going to be able to penetrate the digestive system wall as sugars much easier. But when we have this like a whole fruit, you don't eat all that. So you don't have too much fructose and glucose that is going through your system. And in like a smoothie, you can add like 4 apples in a smoothie. Yeah. You can even add like extra fruits. But if I give you 4 apples to eat, you're not going to finish them. Right. By the time you finish the 4, you're like, Antoinette, listen, I don't want these apples anymore. And that's actually how the fiber that we eat through by eating the whole fruit, it's way better than just eating a smoothie. So the concentration of sugar and fructose and glucose that you're having in there is not the same as when you do a smoothie. So you have too much of it and you don't want to do that. But once to twice a week, that is enough. Yeah, right? Exactly. Not every day. I tell people you do everyday smoothie. If you're doing a smoothie of like greens, like greens and everything, I'm okay. But still, it still cuts the insoluble fibers. Yeah. But if you just do like greens and nothing sugar and everything that are fruits pure, that's fine. That can be fine. Yeah. So don't do the 21-day challenge that's on the internet. It's on there. Actually, to some people, it can help them as a certain extent, but it's just to understand long term, like something you can do it for a short period of time, but not get a philosophy and then apply it the whole your life, right? Because the human body is not meant to do that, right? It's always this variation that we always want to put it into in the elements. Exactly. And I remember when I told you no smooth every, you're like, what? They're good. Yes, they're healthy. I was told they're healthy, but the science behind it, it's definitely understanding how does it serve us, how our body absorb it, because something is good, but how metabolically am I going to to process that? We have a friend here. All right, anything else you want to share that you felt, what was it? Okay, let's put it, there's 2 questions that I have for you before we end this. What was your hardest challenge when you were switching to this, to that? What was that? That was like the hardest challenge was getting used to the food and measuring, because I never measured food before. So that was different. It was just, it goes on my plate, I eat it. But I never had to measure the vegetables, and I never had to measure protein. And so that was getting used to that. Switching to, I love potatoes and all the other starchy stuff, and just, okay, I don't need that anymore, switch to more veggies and stuff more in my life. So that was also the challenge. And once I got over that hurdle, it was just like, cauliflower rice instead of regular rice. I love cauliflower rice. So cauliflower rice with some chicken and cauliflower with broccoli. And so that's stuff I started to notice that I really enjoy. So I love having cauliflower rice. So that was a big hurdle, was getting used to that. And what was your biggest win for you doing this? Finally losing the weight, if it feeling good and finally fitting clothes. I was always in the 3X and 2X sections of the clothing store. And then when I moved over to the smaller sizes, it was just like, whoa, I could fit these pants, and I got some size 10 stretchy pants. I could never fit that before. And
and I put them on, and I was just like, whoa, I can fit these pants. And so I noticed that the clothes started looking better on me, that I was able to move a little bit forward to the clothing area, and I wasn't no longer that 3X and that 2X. I was able to go more into like maybe for shirts, extra large. Bottoms are like, depending on how it's made, a 12, right. And I could do the stretchy 10s, and so that was just like, wow, no more 18s and 24s, and it's just like that was a really nice to finally see that I'm no longer there. It's like, and so I need to still maintain. I exercise. I do kickboxing. I go to the Planet Fitness, and I ride the bikes there. So
it has become your lifestyle.
That's my lifestyle.
It has become your lifestyle. Not only you've learned how to eat, now you know how to exercise. Now you know how to maintain.
Yep.
So you're completely free. After you are done, you know exactly what to do.
Know what to do. Yep. And so I was able to go back to my kickboxing after the program, and I gained some muscles. It was like, good, I got my muscles. Got muscle strength back. And then learning new things. Like I'm learning a little Krav Maga, so introducing more stuff to my activities. And like I said, and then there's days I love going to Planet Fitness, and I could just pedal and everything. So just introducing more lifestyle changes. And keep it social, because I work at home all day. So I have to keep, at the end of the day, I have to keep active. And then also keep social too.
Yeah, that's good. That is fantastic. I am so happy for you, and thank you for coming to share your story.
Definitely.
And sharing your journey, because every person is unique. The past is gonna be different.
Exactly.
And what will be a message, the last thing, what will be the message that you can give to somebody out there who's probably trying to find, or they have doubts, or they just don't know. They don't know where to start. Like, what would you?
I would tell them to look into this program, come down here and try it out. You can do it. It's a lifestyle change. I know you probably, if there's people out there that's tried plenty of programs that didn't work, this one actually does work. There is a science behind it, on what to eat and what's better for you. You see results right away, and to keep up with it, you can do it, to really look into this program. It actually does work.
All right. Thank you so much. And I just want to thank Rhonda for coming here and sharing with you. If you have any question, any concerns, don't hesitate. Any comments, just put comments below. And we are more than happy to really share this with the world, to make sure that the world understand the health, the importance of investing in your health. Again, I mentioned you only have one body, right? And there's not anything out there. And if you don't truly don't take time to invest in it, you'll be forced to invest into your illness. And I do not think there's anyone out there who wants to deal with that at all. But the power is within you, right? All we just help is to awaken it and then share. So don't hesitate again. And thank you. And thank you again, Rhonda. And next time we'll see you, and keep doing the work that we're doing.
That's exactly.
All
well,
right.
It was good talking to everybody, and hopefully they do cross the journey and join, to get into better lifestyle habits.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.